The days that followed the Bingley gathering were filled with a sense of anticipation for Elizabeth. Each encounter with Mr. Darcy left her heart racing, and she found herself reflecting on their conversations more often than not. His earnestness and vulnerability had begun to chip away at her preconceived notions, and she was eager to explore this new dynamic. One afternoon, Elizabeth received a letter from Charlotte, inviting her to visit and witness her new home with Mr. Collins. Although Elizabeth felt a twinge of reluctance, knowing she would see her friend in a marriage that lacked romance, she resolved to support Charlotte. After all, friendship was about standing by one another, regardless of the choices made. Upon arriving at Hunsford, Elizabeth was greeted warmly by Charlotte, who was positively glowing in her new role as a wife. The modest yet comfortable home was filled with the bustle of domestic life, and Elizabeth admired Charlotte's ability to create a welcoming atmosphere. "Isn't it lovely?" Charlotte exclaimed, gesturing to the well-kept garden. "Mr. Collins is quite attentive, and I find joy in managing our household." Elizabeth smiled, though her heart ached for her friend's sacrifice. "You seem happy, Charlotte. That is what matters most." During her visit, Elizabeth was introduced to Lady Catherine de Bourgh, Mr. Darcy's formidable aunt. The lady's imposing presence and haughty demeanor were overwhelming, and Elizabeth found herself on the receiving end of Lady Catherine's condescension. "Miss Bennet," Lady Catherine said, her voice dripping with disdain, "I hear you are not fond of my nephew. Is that true?" Elizabeth met her gaze steadily. "I believe one must earn respect through actions, not merely through status." Lady Catherine scoffed, clearly unimpressed. "Darcy is a man of great consequence. You would do well to remember your place." After the encounter, Elizabeth confided in Charlotte. "Lady Catherine is insufferable. How can she dictate who is deserving of respect?" Charlotte chuckled softly. "She is a product of her upbringing, just as we all are. But do not let her words affect you, Elizabeth. You have a strength that cannot be diminished by her arrogance." The visit continued, and Elizabeth found herself enjoying Charlotte's company despite the challenges of her new life. However, as the days passed, she began to feel a pull back to her own home and the unresolved feelings she had for Mr. Darcy. Upon returning to Longbourn, Elizabeth was met with news that Mr. Bingley had left for London, and Jane was heartbroken. The abrupt departure left a void in their lives, and Elizabeth felt a surge of protectiveness toward her sister. Determined to support Jane, Elizabeth sought out Mr. Darcy, hoping to gain insight into the situation. She found him at a gathering in Meryton, where the atmosphere was charged with gossip about Bingley's sudden departure. "Mr. Darcy," she said, approaching him with purpose, "do you know why Mr. Bingley has left?" Darcy's expression was serious. "I believe it was influenced by external pressures, particularly from my aunt, Lady Catherine." Elizabeth's heart sank. "So you admit she meddles in the affairs of others?" "Indeed," he replied, his tone earnest. "But I assure you Mr. Bingley cares deeply for your sister. He may return when he realizes the truth." Elizabeth felt a flicker of hope. "Then we must encourage him to do so." As they spoke, Elizabeth felt the tension between them shift once more. There was an understanding that had developed, and she could sense Darcy's desire to support her family. "You have changed, Mr. Darcy," she said, her voice softening. "I see a different man before me." "And I see a woman who challenges me in ways I never expected," he replied, his eyes searching hers. "You have made me reconsider my own prejudices." The conversation deepened, and Elizabeth found herself revealing her thoughts on love and marriage, her dreams for a future built on mutual respect. Darcy listened intently, his gaze unwavering. As the evening drew to a close, Elizabeth felt a sense of clarity emerging from the confusion that had previously clouded her heart. Perhaps there was a way forward, one that allowed her to embrace the complexities of love while staying true to her values.